What's going on YouTube? Once again, you might know me as XX Larceny XX. I made the Holy Pally video, and now I just recently started playing a Disc Priest for PvP. And I've been doing a little bit of research trying to find good specs, good glyphs, and learning how to play my Disc Priest slowly. And so far I'm liking it. We're doing okay in 3s. I'm not that high rate in 3s yet just because I haven't gotten the comp I wanted yet. But so far I found a spec and the glyphs that work, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I know it's been a while since I made my last video with my Holy Pally, but I kind of got bored with the Holy Pally and wanted to try something new, and Disc Priest is definitely different. So let's just get started right away. The way I set up my spec, of course you want everything in the first tier, the improved power word shield. You do want it just because, you know, the more you absorb, it's a lot easier for you to heal, especially when they're taking a good amount of damage. The Twin Disciplines, increasing your shadow and holy spell damage and healing by 6%, 6% more healing. You know, what more could you ask for? Mental Agility, reducing the mana cost to your instant cast spells. It does make a pretty big difference, especially when you use your power word shield. Your Prayer of Mending is instant cast. Most of your spells are instant cast, including your Penance actually benefits from that just because it's channel, but it's still technically an instant cast. I only got one in Inner Sanctum, which makes it so that I take 20% less spell damage, and it makes my walking speed a little bit faster in Inner Will. It depends on the fight. If I'm facing casters, I'll put on my Inner Will. If I'm facing melee, then I will put on my Inner Fire, just because I can afford to try to have that 15% movement speed so I can LOS a little bit more so I won't get sheeped or mana burned by another priest. So, of course, you want Soul Warding, which reduces the power word shield ability by 2 seconds. That helps it. So, roughly around the same time that Weakened Soul comes off, your power word shield will be ready to use again. And you can continuously use it on your buddies and everything else, so it'll help out. Inner Focus, you do want it. It's good when you're trying to actually get a cast out and you don't have to worry about a rogue or anybody really just interrupting you. They really have to waste a stun in order to interrupt you on that. So, and it makes it free, so it's always good to get a free heal. I'd not get Atonement only because I don't find myself smiting and using any of that very much. It's really not worth it for us, just because you really want to focus more on healing and mana burning than actually dealing damage to these guys. If you want to put your dots on somebody, that's great, but other than that, you shouldn't get this. I did get Power Infusion. It does help just to increase my casting speed if I really need it, especially on mana burns. That's when I like to use it, because usually when people see a priest mana burn, they try to run away and, you know, they freak out. They don't want to lose their mana. So I usually hit this with my mana burn just so I can pump those out, as, you know, get 2 or 3 of them in instead of maybe only 1 or 2 before the guy actually gets out of my line of sight. So Renewed Hope, you do want it, just because it increases the critical effect chance of most of your heals right there by 10%, and targets afflicted by Weakened Soul, which the Weakened Soul effect is usually always on because you want to put your bubble on as much as possible. I didn't get Evangelism and the Archangel, which some people get, but I find myself not smiting enough and doing the damage enough just to get the Evangelism, and I don't really think it's worth it. It's good to get your mana back, but so far I haven't had really much of an issue with my mana. My main thing is just making sure that I don't get bursted down, which people love to try to do, especially with the comp that I'm running. They try to knock out the healer as much as possible because they realize that they're probably not going to get me out in the open too much. I love to hide behind things to make sure that I don't get sheeped or anything like that. You also want to get Rapture. That way, when it's completely dispelled, all your shield's completely dispelled. Or if it's absorbed, you get 7% of your total mana back. That's really good. Keeps your mana up, because most of the time they do either burst it or try to dispel it. More times than likely, they try to just burst through the shield, because it costs too much mana to dispel or purge it off, unless you got the enhancement shaman. But even still, if it's purged off, you still get the 7% mana. The Borrowed Time you do want, because a 14% spell haste after you use Power Word Shield is amazing, just so you can pop out your Penance really fast, or you can pop out a quick Greater Heal or a Flash Heal if you really need it. I'd mostly go with the Greater Heal or the Penance, depending on the situation. I got the Strength of Soul, just because when you heal a target with Greater Heal, Flash Heal spell, duration of the Weakened Soul debuff is reduced by 4 seconds. That's really good right there. And it also makes it so that way your Inner Focus, you become unsilenceable, uninterruptible, and nobody can dispel anything at that time for 5 seconds after you use your Inner Focus. So that's pretty good right there. You don't want to buy any Aegis, the more bubbles the better, and also it gets down to getting you the power word barrier, and you definitely need that, especially if you're getting hit real hard and you can pop out a power word barrier. It does save you a lot, especially when you have your pain suppression, which is the next move we're going to talk about. If your pain suppression's on cooldown, you can have that power word barrier to actually save you. Even though you can't cast it while you're stunned, it's a good thing when you come out of a stun and you realize you're getting hit pretty hard, you can pop that. Or if you're smart enough, you can pop it before you actually get stunned. I know I've gotten to that point because I know they're about to stun me, and I can pop that. And basically, they have me stunned. I won't be able to do anything. I won't be able to heal or anything like that. But I won't be taking as much damage, and my partners can usually get underneath that as well. And they bring the fight to me, and everybody's taking reduced damage. I didn't get the train of thought just to, the 50% chance, which goes up to 100, I believe, to heal with a greater heal, reduce the cooldown of your inner focus. I don't find myself greater healing too much, only because it's really easy to interrupt, especially in threes when you have a shaman healer or anything like that, because they'll just purge, they'll throw their wind shear and whatnot, and it's just worthless. And the cooldown of your penance is okay, but so far my penance right now has a 10-second cooldown, and honestly that's pretty good enough because you have other heals, you renew, your prayer mending that you can throw on them as well. I didn't get the reflective shield. It's a good little extra damage thing, but it didn't. I wanted to use my points elsewhere to be more for the defensive and benefit my healing than to do a little bit more damage. Because so far my partners have been pretty good on damage and being able to burst people down. You do want the grace just because every time you heal with your penance or your flash heal, or your greater heal, you get the grace on you or your partner, which will increase the healing they take from you, which is amazing, and it stacks up to 3 times. So you do want focused will. That way, every time you get hit, by a hit that's greater than 10% of your health, then you get focused will, which reduces your damage taken by 10%. And any damage taken for a priest, since we're clothies, definitely helps out. And then the power word barrier, some priests don't get it. I like to get it just because it does help out in certain situations when you don't want to use your pain suppression and everybody's taking a good amount of damage. And it's really hard to heal. You can put that down just to stop that AoE damage and everybody taking it, and it's a lot easier to heal your partners back up. I did not get the improved renew. I do use my renew spell just as much, but I wanted to put my points elsewhere, so I decided against getting it, because my renew is just for a little bit of help to heal them up for when I'm stunned or something like that. I can do the little heal over time. The empowered healing, just to increase my healing, done my flash heal, regular heal, binding heal, greater heal. Basically better healing, you always want it. And then I just went into the 2 in Divine Fear, just reduced my cast time of my heal and greater heal. It's your greater heal, if I use it when I really need it, because I know if somebody's taking massive damage and I am behind a pillar where I can't get interrupted, I'll throw a great heal out there, along with a power infusion if I really need to. And Desperate Prayer, it's like your own personal little mini lay on hands that you really want to have. It costs no mana, it's a 2-minute cooldown, yes, but a no mana cost, 30% of your health back just definitely helps. And then I went over to get the inspiration, which reduces the target's physical damage that they take by 10% every time. After they get my flash heal, greater heal, binding heal, penance, prayer mending, prayer healing, circle healing, basically almost all your heals will give inspiration to your target. And I didn't get a Surge of Light just because I don't smite at all, so there's no point. And then I went over, I didn't get the spell haste. You don't really need the spell haste so far that I've seen it. Some priests get it, but I don't think it's worth it. Proof Shadow Word Pain, really you don't need more damage on that, you're not Shadow. I got the decreased cooldown of Fade and the reduced cooldown of Shadow Fiend ability just to help out with mana. And my Shadow Fiend is a good way to keep somebody in combat. So I know sometimes when I'm getting low mana or I see a healer that's trying to eat or drink, or I know he's about to, I usually throw my Shadow Fiend out there. So that way my partner can either go get him and bring him out, or I can get there in time to hit him with a Psychic Scream or just hit him with something so that way he doesn't sit down and drink. So it does help, and it helps because getting mana back as soon as possible using your Hymn of Hope or your Shadow Fiend definitely helps. So I'm going to go over my glyphs as well. The main glyphs I have are the Glyph of Penance, which reduces the cooldown of your penance by 2 seconds. That's great, so that way my penance would be 12 seconds, but now it's 10, so it's easier to get the penances out. Glyph of Renew, this is why I didn't spec into Renew, because it already increases the heal by 10%. and the Glyph of Power Word Shield, which also heals the target for 20%, so if somebody's taking damage and you put that shield on them, it also does a little heal that just increases your healing. Glyph of Desperation allows your pain suppression and your Guardian Spirit to be cast while stunned. That's good, because that way you know if you're taking good damage and you have no trinket whatsoever, your pain suppression will reduce the amount of damage you take. Glyph of Master Spell reduces the cast time of your Master Spell by a second. That way you can get them out really fast, get those pesky pally bubbles off. And the Glyph of Paramending, that first charge of Paramending heals for an additional 60%. Notice how it does not say that the other ones go down. So just because it does, you're basically making the first one hit for a good amount, but the other ones are still hitting for their normal amounts, which is really good. And then the minor glyphs, I just got Glyph of Levitate, Glyph of Shadow Fiend, just increases the mana if he dies. Usually he doesn't, he just disappears. And the Glyph of Fortitude, just in case I do need to rebuff my party members, because sometimes they like to dispel all the buffs and I can just get it on, because my Power Word Fortitude right now is 1800 mana. It's easy just to put that back on and the little extra help. So yeah, I hope this helps everybody out. This is my new priest. I'm going to be doing some more arena. Hopefully I can put in a couple of videos of me doing 2s and 3s. But with that being said, let me know if this was helpful for you guys and if I should continue making videos or if I should just stop making videos altogether. Any feedback helps. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that I need to add, because I'm still learning how to play Disc Priest and learning to spec and to make sure that I got everything up to date. So if you have any tips for me, just let me know, and good luck with your new Discipline Priest.